Daniel Jones versus Gardner Minshew. Who would you rather have? Kyle, let's start off with you.
All right. Well, I'm going to go with Daniel Jones here. I think this is actually someone I was pretty wrong on coming into the NFL draft. I wasn't really high on him as everything was escalating and everyone was talking about, oh, this is a potential top 5 pick. I wasn't really high on him, but he actually performed pretty well, I think, given his circumstances. I think it'd be fairly easy to say the worst offensive line in football. I don't think that's a controversial statement. And I actually think the Giants can be a bit of a sleeper next season. I think they have a lot of talent on that offense. The line should be better. And I think overall he's a really good quarterback. And I think if you look at him and Gardner Minshew, Jones did finish last year with a higher completion percentage, higher QBR rating. And I think overall you watch the tape of the two guys, I think that he has a better arm talent. And I don't think that's really deniable. I think he throws a better ball. He's obviously got more strength. He's a little more mobile. And I just think that overall I'm taking the upside of Jones over what Minshew did last year with the Jaguars, which I think was the slightly better team. I think overall the biggest thing against Jones overall is going to be his fumbling problems. I think that's something that is curable, especially at the quarterback position. And I think it's going to be curable as the offensive line gets better. So he cures that fumbling problem. I think if I'm going to pick a guy who I think could be a future like top 10, top 12 quarterback in the league, I'm taking Daniel Jones over Gardner Minshew.
Okay, Cam?
Yeah, I'm a big Minshew guy. I've made multiple videos on Gardner Minshew. I remembered watching him at Washington State. So when Foles got injured, I was like, oh, I didn't know Gardner Minshew was on the Jags. He comes in, he lights up the Chiefs. He goes like 21 for 25. I would pick Minshew. I think that his anticipation on routes is phenomenal. He threw a ball against the Raiders and out and up to, I want to say, Keelan Cole, that he anticipated the hell out of it. Like the guy Keelan Cole wasn't even out of his break to the sideline, and he had thrown this ball up right in the bucket. The dude's got phenomenal arm talent. They're both very talented. And that's one thing I guess I do want to say is that just because I pick Minshew doesn't mean I don't like Daniel Jones. I'm a lot higher on Daniel Jones than a lot of people are. But for me, what makes Gardner Minshew a better quarterback, I think that his anticipation, his ability to read defense, and not only that, but like the Giants had a better offense when we look at it. Gardner Minshew doesn't have a Saquon Barkley. He doesn't have a Darius Slayton. He doesn't have, he doesn't have an Evan Ingram. So when we compare the offenses, I think that the Giants have a little bit better of an X factor in terms of like who are the superstars on that offense. You look at the Jags, it's like, yeah, they got Leonard Fournette, but Leonard Fournette's not going to break a swing pass like 60 to the house. He just doesn't have that ability. So with Gardner Minshew, I think that he did a little bit more with less last year. The one thing that I will say is that Gardner Minshew is going to be on a shorter leash, and we see a lot of mock drafts right now having the Jags pick Trevor Lawrence 1 overall. So if he doesn't come in and compete and do well and really bring this Jags offense to that next level, he's going to be out really quick. So the longevity of things, Minshew's on a much, much shorter leash. So I think that he's in a position where he has to perform. A guy like Daniel Jones, he's the future. You don't draft a guy 6 or 7 overall to sit there and, wait in the wings for multiple years, or draft a guy who's going to be a starter 2 years later. I think that with Minshew, really, like I said, the X factors with him, anticipation, throwing the football. I think he's a little bit more of a play creator, like against that game. Again, when they played the Broncos, he had this play where he was in the pocket for what seemed like 6 seconds, dodging dudes left and right, great ball security, then floats one to the back corner of the end zone to his running back. I think Minshew's going to be my guy if I had to pick between the two.
Okay, so Kyle, let's go back to let's go back to you and let us know what do you like, or just go ahead, rebuttal.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think the one thing that is kind of starting to get overlooked, especially as these guys are starting to get drafted, is a lot of these air raid quarterbacks. I think a lot of things they lack on are the intricacies of pro style offenses. But one thing that they're very good at is anticipation and timing routes. I think that's one thing that they come in very advanced on. And I think Minshew is the perfect example of that. I think, the thing is I think that skill position wise, if you go man by man, I think that the Giants did have more skill position talent. I mean, I think DJ Chark's actually really good. And obviously Fournette, if he's healthy, I think is still a solid player. But I think overall, I think the problem was that offensive line was so bad that it didn't really matter who was on the skill position guys for the Giants. I think that, Daniel Jones' 2 worst games, and I think if you look at them, they're obvious why it's his 2 worst games, are New England on a short week against Bill Belichick in what was the best defense in football last year. And then the other worst game was against the Packers, and they had a ridiculously good defensive line last year. And that's just a recipe for disaster with that offensive line that the Giants had. I do think that as that gets better, and then, like I said, he learns to take care of the ball more, especially, tucking away those fumbles. I just think overall Jones has the talent I think he has the talent to go further in his career than Minshew does. I think Minshew can be a good quarterback, and Cam was saying that, these are the top 3 rookie quarterbacks in football if you're including Kyler Murray. I think all 3 of them are going to be very good. I just think long term, if I'm looking 5-10 years down the road, I think I'm going to bet more in Jones and his talent over Minshew.
Do I get a rebuttal, or are we going to the next one?
No, you go ahead.
Okay. No, I don't want to mess up the flow like I'm doing right now.
You're good.
When we look at just the straight numbers of it, like Daniel Jones threw 24 touchdowns and like 12 picks last year, 11 picks, 24 and 12. Like great rookie season. Like if you draft a rookie Q, you're going to assume he's going to throw 20 picks. That's kind of the standard. With Minshew, he comes in, throws 21-6. And like I said, like when you look at the superstar talent around him, their offensive line, the Giants' offensive line was bad. I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat it. They were not good. But at the same time, when you look at what Minshew was doing, the one thing with Gardner is that you want to see the consistency. I want to see that dude who came out against the Chiefs and was ripping slants at DJ Chark, who I completely forgot about. Way to do your research, Cam. He's a phenomenal player on the Jags as well. And I think that the Giants coaches and their coaching staff, they were preparing for a Daniel Jones system and a Daniel Jones world, right? It was pretty clear that, hey, Eli was on his way out. There was going to be a short leash for him. With Gardner, Jags coaches weren't sitting there going, Gardner Minshew is going to be our Q. They were looking at Nick Foles as the guy. So when you have an offense, you can now kind of prepare around Gardner Minshew, and it's a lot of quick game. It's a lot of timing routes, a lot of stuff like that. I think that he's going to excel now with that offense kind of being built around him, and really them finding, okay, what fits 15 really well. And in terms with the Giants, as far as Daniel Jones goes, like he's always going to have an Evan Ingram. He's always going to have a Saquon when we sit there and look at their production. But with Gardner, I think that when you look at what he did last year, 21-6, he takes care of the football. That's the biggest thing that I love about him. And one of the edges that I do think he has over Daniel Jones is his ability to take care of the ball, right? Only 6 picks last year to Daniel Jones' 12. Maybe he had less games played, probably. But at the end of the day, like you look at the fumbles, that's a problem. Not one that he can't fix. I'm not going to sit here and go back on what I said in my video about Danny J. I think that he definitely can fix the fumbling issue. You got to adjust to the NFL speed. But we look at Gardner, his ability to take care of the rock, his ability to throw guys open. I think that's where he's going to really excel. And especially once they start building a system around him and giving him weapons, things that will fit 15, that's where I think we're really going to see him excel.
Okay, I'm going to call it here for round 1. I think that I don't agree with both of you about the Giants offensive line. I'm not going to say it was great, but I don't think it was as abysmal as both of you guys are saying. However, Cam, you did not make that point. And again, I'm basing this off of the argument, not necessarily what I tend to believe. I think that Kyle made the better points about how maybe in 5 years Jones can excel better. I'm going to give this point to Kyle.